the president has already, Rakhi has already introduced our speaker for today, and I do not want to take uh, much more time because we want to listen to the speaker straight away. So I just want to inform to all the participants. First of all, welcome to everyone, and we will be hearing from the speaker on what he and his team had recently found, the discoveries and the linkages that he will be presenting to us with relation to the Dimasa Kachari Kingdom. And after the talk, we will keep the discussion open for everyone. So if you have any questions, you can either put it in the chat box or you can also unmute yourself and ask directly. So you will be able to ask any kind of question to the speakers. So on that note, I would now like to hand over the time to our speaker, Dr. Shringao Langthasa.
Thank you, Dr. Humit Hossain and Dr. Rakhi Naiding. So I would like to share my screen. Okay, let's see. It is visible. Can you please enable it? Screen sharing.
Screen sharing.
It's done now.
It's done.
Yes.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. First of all, a very good evening to each and everyone, especially Dimasa Scholars League for hosting this academic talk. And on behalf of the team spearheaded by District Museum Officer, District Museum Haflong, and a research archaeologist and field archaeologist from the Department of Archaeology, Dima Hasao. So this talk will discuss on the recent archaeological discoveries that were made in the Langting Dansri Valley. So what is archaeology? Archaeology is a science which unearths ancient remains such as artifacts, ecofacts, monuments, and other structures. So after these sources, this data and all are accessed, and in-depth study lead to the help historian to write the history of that particular area. It is a source, in a simple sense, it is a source that can be used to write the history. So after in the first section, in the first phase, what discoveries were made, what artifacts were being documented, will all be discussed, and later on, in the later section, its potential linkages to the Dimasa kingdom will be discussed. So, what is so Dimasa is a Indo-Mongoloid group of people who speaks Tibeto-Burman language of the Bodo-Garo linguistic family. They had ruled large territories from their capital at Dimapur in the 10th to 16th century CE, and then later on, the Dimasa capital was shifted to Maibang in the Maho River Valley in 16th century CE, and later on in 18th century in the plains of Barak Valley in Kashpur. After and during their rule in Kashpur, the Dimasa kingdom came into direct contact with the British East India Company, and later on, through the doctrine of lapse, since the last king Govinda Chandra Hasulsa didn't had a heir, so the kingdom was annexed under the context of doctrine of lapse in the 19th century CE. However, their earlier history prior to their establishment in the Dansari River Valley, especially in Dimapur, their history is not clearly known. This is all because there lacks written piece of evidence. So history of the Dimasa prior to their establishment in the Dansari River Valley are all known from oral narratives. And as per oral narratives, The Dimasa believe that they are the descendants of they are the descendants of Bangla Raja and so they were the descendants of Bangla Raja and Dima, and believe they are these two characters are their ancestors. And some community historians believe that the Dimasas descend from Gadadkacha, from Mahabharata. So this created a gap in our understanding of the history of the Dimasa, because not much efforts were being made to know the history of the Dimasa from archaeological remains. So in order to mitigate this gap, the team explored the Langting Dansri River Valley, because there are oral narratives relating to that very site, that it holds various archaeological remains of the Dimasa kingdom. So this is the study area. The study area lies on the easternmost region of Dima Hasao district and borders Nagaland and Karbi Anglong district. The black dot which we see in the map are the site, and the landmark are in the brown color, and the blue is in Khepre Bazaar, is a Khepre Bazaar, and the two black dot is are the district headquarters of Dima Hasao district. So the geography, the area, this very study area is formed by Langting and Dansir River, and the landscape of this very valley is a hilly terrain with approximately height ranging to 392 meters above mean sea level, and then the area is rich in biodiversity. Flora and fauna are rich over there, and and that very area is still dominated by wild animals such as elephants, etc. However, to reach the site is a very difficult task. There is no direct access to reach that very location, and in order to reach that very site, there needs to be a painstaking trekking of more than 7 hours from Khepre village. So the road is only up to Khepre village, and from there we have to descend 7 hours trekking. So the archaeological discoveries were made between Dimahajong and Sonapur village. These two villages are abandoned. Dimasa village and Dimahajong lies in midway between Khepre and Dimahajong. In Sonapur. So the first site, the first site can be reached after 3 hours of trekking, and there we see a circular moat, which, according to local term, it as Khorgai. And from there, if we move around 2 hours towards the north, then we reach a pit trenches, and from there a descent downhill climb of around 2 hours, we reach a factory site, which is in a riverbed stream, or rivers is in a stream bed of in a stream bed in just nearby the Dansri River, in near the tri-junction of Karbi Anglong, Nagaland, and Dima Hasao. So this site is the first site which we located, lies in midpoint between Sunapur and Dimahajong, and this is a moat. It's a fortification type, and it is 16 feet wide, 14 feet deep, 120 meter is diameter. However, the size of it might have been much more wider. The trench, it could have been much deeper. However, due to erosion and then filling up of soil has minimized its dimension. But in earlier days, it might have been much more deeper. And during the preliminary survey, just adjacent to this mound, we found pottery sherds, which were blackware and redware. It was wheel-made pottery. What wheel-made pottery and what potsherd signifies in archaeological investigation is a very useful thing. It signifies that the site must have been a habitation site, habitation means there must have been a settlement of the royal, or maybe some sort of watchtower, or maybe it might have existed over there. And because of its size, it might have even serve as a fortification also. However, it is not clear whether it was a fortification or was used for catching or trapping wild animal, especially elephant. Due to the dense vegetation, a proper photograph could not be clicked. So just to have an idea, we have clicked this very spot. However, during the expedition, we have encircled the area. We have made a survey, and the size is very large, and it is intriguing to see such remnants that lies just in a jungle. And after descending for around 2 hours from the first site, we see a pit trench. This trench doesn't it doesn't encircle as like the earlier one, but it is only on a patch. And on both sides of this very trench is a cliff, which made it a perfect place for defensive purpose and as well as for taming, trapping wild elephant. Uh, in case of Northeast India and Southeast Asia, there is a tradition of trapping wild elephant by digging such trench. And existence of such trench in this very locality suggests its potentiality of elephant trapping and other measures such as for defensive purpose. It might has also been used because it overlook the Dansri River, and it could have been a potential site to check to check the enemy advancement. So and in present times it is 15 feet deep and follows a 30-degree slope approximately. So the third site, which can be termed as a workshop and factory. To reach the site, we need to go through Sonapur village. Sonapur is an abandoned village which was abandoned since 2019 due to political, socio-economic reason. So if we move towards the north from Sonapur village for around 1.5 hour trekking, we can reach this very site. And this stream joins Dansiri River. It is a tributary of the Dansiri River. And the moment we reach this very stream bed, we are welcomed with such intriguing stone artifacts. At a first glance, we can directly justify that architecture, these structures were not naturally created, because there are various shapes and size which doesn't represent as a natural formation. Rather, it can be directly hint that it were created by humans. So in this very site, we find military equipments such as which can be tentatively claimed that it can be cannonballs or sling balls, and the smallest can be like of 6 inches in diameter, and the largest can extend until up to 14. Then there are cultural remains such as oval stones, hemispherical objects inside slab. Then we have replicas. Then some of the artifacts cannot be indiscernible, such as protruding stone, fine chisel artifacts. So what this very stream bed signifies is a advance is it showcase the evidence of advanced stone carving and military production in medieval times. So we will now discuss these remains in details. So on the figure written as A is the largest one, which we have seen in the very stream bed, and the B is a small one which can be easily hold in a palm. It is very well chiseled, very well fine output, which is circular in shape and can be tentatively assigned as cannonballs or sling balls. Then there is a incise structure. Here we can see the card mark generated by iron, and there is an incision which bulges out. So we find these kind of structures all across the stream bed. The other is written as A There's a hemispherical cap, which can be associated with the monoliths of Dimapur maybe. And then the B is a stone slab. However, there are no any incision in this very A and B, but it is very much well finished. And in the C, which is an incised slab, we find engravings. We find some kind of representation. It may be, however, it cannot be uh, discernible at the present moment. However, these were very intriguing. Then this can be, say, a replica of traditional object. The figure which we see in A can be easily whole with two palm, and it's a like a it represents like a traditional lautai, which is made out of a dried gourd. So it likewise, so we were shared story by one individual who once resided in that very area, who is very well known of this very locality, had narrated that back in 2007, in this very stream bed, he had witnessed many such structure which were very much smaller, which also looks exactly like lautai, that very thing which is made by goat. So there are many such things like lautai shape, but however, due to maybe erosion or maybe during the rainwater, it might have washed off or maybe filled up by the earth. But the larger ones still survive in the very stream bed. So these are the this structure is very much interesting, and it can be associated with a traditional object. And on the right hand side, we see unfinished stone structure, and these artifacts cannot be indiscernible. uh, the B, what intrigued me a lot during the survey was this B figure. It is very much interesting. On its base, we can see three garland-like design, and just above it, in the middle section, it protrudes or it bulges out in a circular shape, which is very much well finished. And just above it, there is another garland-like shape, and above it, it protrudes. The size of it is very much large and cannot be directly associated or cannot be directly claimed what can this be at this present stage of knowledge. Then again, we see this kind of like protruding stone, then fine chisel artifacts. So these are the like significant artifacts that were being discovered, that were being documented in that very stream bed. So since 2 years, we have been working in the archaeology of Dima Hasao, and our team had come across many such remains which can be associated with those found in the Langting Dansiri River Valley. So first, we'll discuss about Banjik Halu, where there is a ditch, and then Maibang Rajabari and Daukrang, where we find pottery sherds, and then in Dikong Mabra, which is a Liwari cliff, and in and this is from Chaurasi Temple, is from Himachal Pradesh, where we see a protidium lingam, and this will be comparatively studied in this very next section. So here I have written Rajabari instead of Rajbari. So according to my understanding, Rajabari is a Rajabari can be termed as a territory, and Rajabari can be termed as a capital, whereas Rajbari can be used for a territory. So here I have written Rajabari just to precise the location of the capital. So this is from Banji Halu, and Banji Halu is a village in Maibang West MAC constituency. And there in the village, just there by the LP school, we find similar like structure, moat like design with a mound just in the center. And according to legend, it has it that this very structure were once used for trapping wild elephant, and that wild elephant was also claimed as a white elephant during the days of the kings in Maibang. It were being used to tame elephant and to keep it. And while exploring this very area, just in the center, we found one fossilized wood. And according to the locals, they say it was once place. It was erected in the center to tie rope. To tie rope. So this is in the Banji Halu, is a moat-like structure and with a mound in the center. And then next we find pottery. We have, as discussed, we have during the exploration we have found pottery sherds from Daukrang as well, or from Khorgai site one as well. And the pottery that were found from that very site has a striking similarities with those found from Maibang Rajabari and Daukrang. So Maibang Rajabari, we found this in the vicinity of Maibang College, and there, these potsherds are still in situ. We have closely examined it and found a striking similarity. And the other one on the right hand side is a pottery that were being collected as surface finds from Daukrang village. Daukrang is a village nearby Kalachan MSC, in Kalachan MSC constituency, and according to legend, Daukrang used to be a place for which was used as a poultry during the days of during the days of Maibang monarch. So according to legend, it was once used for feeding birds or other poultry. So both these two pottery sherds have a striking similarities with one that we found from Khorgai side one. And this A and B is from Dikhong Mabra, which is a Luari clip. According to local, they claim it is a Luari clip. It is made out of sandstone, but not polished well, and it has a shallow in the center. And according to them, it is a Luari, and Luari is a cooking pot in Dimasa dialect. So, and it has a similarity with those found from uh, Watisa Dikhong. And Dikhong Mabra is towards the east of Maibang in Lailing village area, which can be accessed by NH27 after crossing Batsaveri locality. So Chaurasi temple, why I have taken this as it somehow represents those protruding stone structures that were being unearthed from Watisa Dikhong. And in this Chaurasi temple was built in circa 7th century CE, and this place is worshipped as this place is a worship place for Shiva. So it bears a similarity. So maybe that very place, that the Watisha Dikhong, might have been a religious place as well, where the creators must be a Shiva, or and Shaiva was practiced alongside maybe traditional way of life or traditional religion. So here we can see the striking similarities, but how it landed in Dima Hasao and what are its affinities needs to be further probed upon. So these are the only similarities that we found, and it it is very much interesting to see such kind of artifacts even in Himachal Pradesh. So now this artifacts connection with the Dimasa kingdom will be highlighted. So historical context. Dimapur monoliths, one of the finest specimens of archaeological remains in the northeastern region of India. In the Dimapur monoliths, we see fine stone sculptures such as cylindrical pillar with motifs, and then V-shaped pillar. So this shows that during the Dimapur period, the royal must be very much well acquainted with creating structures out of stone, and it is also to be noted that Dimapur was a capital, but however they had a large territory. Maybe it extended until that very Watisa Dikhong, which is situated in the upper reaches of Dhansiri River, just nearby the Tri Junction. So it shows that maybe during the capital at Dimapur, their workers, the sculptors, may have sculpted all these artifacts from that very stream bed. Maybe the stream bed may have been a place where it was used as a workshop or from there or maybe from there the stones were being quarried and carried to Dimapur via Tansri River, which is very much navigable all throughout the year. And and on the other hand, if you see during after the Dimasa kingdom relocated its capital in 1536 CE, they reach Upper Dhansiri River Valley after a conflict with the Ahum in 1536 CE. So oral history suggests that the royal, after the death of its king in Dimapur, the prince were led by the Dimasas into the upper reaches and settled in Prasadimdik village, which is also known as Dimakro. And Dimakro is translated into mouth of or source of Dhansri River. And the royals had settled there in the interregnum period for about 22 years, from 1536 to another 22 years over there. And from there, the prince shifted its capital towards Maibang in the later after 22 years. So how this very thing can be related to that very um, sandstone artifacts can be related to those with the Dimasas can be seen through. It can be referred from the Kachari Buranji as well. Kachari Buranji mentions that when the Ahum army marched towards Maibang capital in the later part or in the first part of 17th century, they had encountered with the Dimasa, and during the confrontation, they had collected more than 600 cannons in Maibang. So this very area, this what is a Dikhong, can be maybe a source for collecting, for making cannonballs or sling balls to for cannons. And just nearby the very stream bed, there is a hill which is known as uh, Sherki Hading, which translate into iron iron slag mountain. So that very area is very rich in archaeological like structure, just like Khorgai, the fortification area can also be seen in that very area, in that very hill, which is Sherki Hading. So from here, we can say that the very river, the very stream bed, which have lots and lots of sandstone deposited by sandstone. So those sandstones must have been used for making military production as well. This animal taming, cultural and technological practices, which we can observe from these archaeological remains, we see moat or trenches for capturing elephant, because elephant were used in various for various purposes, such as for labor, then for ceremonial use, and during warfare also. And following the 1536 following the 1536 battle in Dimapur, the Dimasas were very much into constant warfare with the Ahum kingdom. There were various reports documented in Buranji about the skirmishes between the Dimasa and the Ahum. So, in order to curb all these things, definitely the Dimasa monarch have to engage themselves into warfare, and in the warfare, elephants are very much useful. And fortification also we can see to curb out the invading Ahum. Maybe the fortification must have been built, and that very location of those two trenches, one was the trenches that was being around that is around 20 minutes, around 2 hours from the site one fortification. So in order to reach the main fortification, they definitely have to cross through that very trench, which was situated in such a geographic location that only in order to access this very area, they need to cross that very trench. And and that trench was definitely maybe used for defensive as well as for elephant capture. And stone carving, from the stone carving we can see about how skilled those artisans may have been, because creating such structure out of stone cannot be done in a single span of night or single day. It might have taken a huge labor as well as determination to create such exquisite monuments in exquisite structure with sandstone. So this speaks the volume about the artisan and the engagement of artisan in creating such exquisite monuments. And for military organization, we see large production of weapon. As said earlier, there are various shape of circular stone, which definitely may have been used for cannons. And as quoted by as quoted from K. Ahmed in his book Art and Architecture of Assam, he mentions that Dimasas were not just warriors who could fight the Ahums or the Mughals, but were also patrons of art and technology. From there, we can draw a linkage between these archaeological remains with the Dimasa kingdom. So future research direction, if we see, then this was just a preliminary study that we covered. And if we expand our if we expand our research, then there are possible chances are there to find more such archaeological remains in that very area. That very area is very much strategic, and in order to enter the Mahasao through Dansari River, we definitely have to cross that very section. And as per legend, hold that the Dimasa king had stayed in that very locality for more than 22 years during the interregnum period, then definitely they must have left their cultural remains. So so for that, in order to uncover all these remains, we have to expand that very survey in the area. And since Dansari is a very resource rich region, that very area must be systematically surveyed. And after surveying the entire valley systematically, then we can have a systematic excavation. And from excavation, we may unearth archaeological remains or other cultural remains, which will help write the history of the Dimasa kingdom. And beyond that, we also need to document oral histories with Dimasa elders, because there are very instances, and we are even being told that such kind of a circular moat can still be seen in that very area. And just like near Dimakro village, also we can see there are still such kind of fortifications still visible. So before it perishes, we need to document all this thing, because there is a theory that it has those archaeological remains have survived for centuries. Then why would it just perish overnight? But the thing is that back then there were less population, people had much land to cultivate or do whatever they want. But today thing has changed. We are running out of our resources. So that definitely leads towards the destruction of all the remains. So before it is lost forever, we need to document. And later on, we need to do comparative studies with all the archaeological remains that were being found in the nearby area, and as well as with the mainstream Indian history. If we compare these remains, then definitely this mystery surrounding these remains, especially from the stream bed of Watisha Tikhong, we may it may comparative study may uncover the mystery that is still ongoing. So threats to the sites. There are evidence of logging, then agriculture, art filling in that very area. In the Korgai one, we see that very mound, the art in that very mound, in that very moat, art were filled, art cutting were filled to for 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 the passage of logging vehicle, and this passage is seen in both Khorgai 1 and 2. So these are the threat, and even the agriculture. Our people are very much into shifting cultivation. So there are chances that if they ran out of land, then definitely they might be going to that very place for agriculture. And then the art feeling, which is also natural as well as human made. Art filling obviously happens due to various factors such as erosion of the soil or maybe disturbance created by the humans. So these are the thing, and even the wildlife interference is very much prominent in the very area. Elephants roam that very jungle, so protection is needed, and and this protection should be done at the earliest. So what we did from our end after visiting that very site, we directed our guide to preserve that very thing, to clear the jungles and vegetation, and not to allow anyone to do cultivation in that very place. But let's see what they will do. But in the first phase of protecting that very site, the jungle clearance were made on that very fortification. So Langting Dansri Valley River reveals Dimasa expertise in defense, craftsmanship, and military. It will definitely help to write the history of the Dimasa Kachari kingdom alongside cultural remains. So if we find tangible heritage while writing the history, it holds more value than just writing it with oral narratives. So since the Dimasa kingdom lacks tangible sources for compiling its history, this remains will definitely boost different, and this archaeological data will definitely help in writing the concrete history of the Dimasa, and these findings will fill a gap in historical narratives. So in order to do this, first of all, we need to protect sites, and further research should be conducted to uncover Northeast India history. This survey was very much supported by the chief executive member and executive member of cultural department, Dimasa Autonomous Council, and due acknowledgement is also given to Department of Archaeology and District Museum Haflong Hasao. Team members comprising of Haras Thausen, then Amit Bodo, Joydeep Langtasa, Sanjay Maibangsa, and our local guides and our local guides uh, and our local guides, Rhodes Fonglo and Parmes Joraisa from Sonapur village, who presently reside in Khepre market area, and then GB and elders of Khepre village. So with this, I conclude my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shringdao. Um, Truly intriguing, and I would like to congratulate you and the entire team for this groundbreaking discovery, these findings. Um, it was truly mesmerizing to look at all of the findings that you presented. So, starting from the hemispherical objects to those unique ones you have seen a remarkable resemblance to the Shivlingas in Chaurasi temple. And many questions are there, I suppose, also in the minds of the participants. I have a few, but before I take on my own, um, I would like to declare that the floor is open for discussion. So if our participants have any questions for our speaker, you may either put it up in the chat box. There are a couple of comments already, or also you can unmute yourself to ask. Before that, I'll just read out here. Regam has greeted you, followed by Chitrangita Gayan, who also congratulates you on your discoveries. And she says, They are sure to change our perception of the past. And then there is another comment. We I cannot see the name. So it says, "Hello, I'm not an archaeology or history student. Rather, I'm a geography student. So I have some basic question regarding the Dimasa kingdom. Thank you in advance. Number one, why the archaeological sites of Dimapur and Khaspur is called Rajbari? Did the kings used to live there? What are the archaeological indicators to declare it Rajbari?" I'll just read them out one by one. Question number two, she asks, how did we know that Maibang was the second capital of Dimasa kingdom? Was there any archaeological monuments like in Dimapur Rajbari or Khaspur Rajbari other than stone house? And the third question is, what was the expand of Dimasa kingdom in its peak? How was territory defined in Dimasa kingdom? So, Shingdao, would you like to take these questions up one by one?
Okay. I don't remember the question exactly, so just one by one, I will
You
take.
can just, if you can just look at the chat, maybe, or
Sure.
you want me to, or else I can repeat it for you.
No, ma'am. I'll just check the comments.
Okay. A
Okay.
last comment has three questions. You can go
Uh,
for that.
Change. So I'll take one by one. First, Chitrangita Gayans. So thank you. Hope you liked it, and yeah, definitely it will change our perception. And hello, this is from OnePlus 4. Hello, I'm not an archaeology or history student, rather, I'm a geography student, so I have some basic question regarding the Dimasa kingdom. Thank you in advance. Why the archaeological sites of Dimapur and Khaspur is called Rajbari? Did the king used to live there? What are the archaeological indicators to declare it Rajbari? So, question number one to this a very
No, sorry, I'm just interrupting you. You can stop sharing your screen
okay,
and
okay,
then get back to this.
all right, stop share. Why the archaeological sites of Dimapur and Kashpur is called Rajbari? Did the kings used to live there? What are the archaeological indicators to declare it Rajbari? So, if we say we don't have a tendency to question whatever being written, we just simply follow it. But according to my understanding, I'm not saying I don't speak on behalf of everyone, but just based on my understanding, Rajbari, Raj means the place where the area as a whole, where it has been ruled. So in that case, we can say it's a Rajbari, just like a territory. But if we say it's a Rajabari, Rajabari means a place which was being used for the settlement of the Raja or just like the capital. So Rajabari means a place just like if you see in present tendency, if you see Dima Hasao, for example, where the headquarter of Dima Hasao is Haflong. So Haflong, and within that Haflong, the very thing there is a existence of district council, autonomous council. So we can say autonomous council as a Rajabari, and that very whole district as a Rajbari. Rajbari can be tentatively say as a territory or expansion of the very area. So, and what are the archaeological indicators to declare it Rajbari? So, archaeological indicator may be very tiny thing also, just like the pottery shards, and can be large, like a structure, huge structure, just like the capital gateway of Dimapur or maybe the Baradwari of Kashpur. This can be the indication. So, if you see about the potential of archaeological remains, it doesn't simply have to be huge. A small tiny sherd of pottery can also be very much helpful in indicating that very area as a Rajbari. And how do we know that Maibang was the second capital of Dimasa kingdom? Was there any archaeological monuments like in Dimapur Rajbari or Kashpur Rajbari other than stone house? So in order to answer this, as being told earlier during the lecture, the Dimasas did not have the habit of writing down their own history. And history is something that is being written evidence of the past is known as history. Or on the other hand, if we see itihasa means whatever indeed might have happened, but because of lacking in artifacts or archaeological data, we can uh, we can say that the Itihasa of the Dimasa period. Now, although there's tangible sources are very much minimal to understand the history of the Dimasa kingdom prior to the establishment at Dhansiri Valley. But after establishing in Dimapur, and after the coming after the presence of Ahum in the region, Ahum kingdom, they had a habit of writing down the history. So from their Buranji, we can say that Dimapur was the first capital of the Dimasa as per history. But if we see Itihasa, then maybe Dimasa kingdom dates back to much earlier period. But history, on the other hand, is a written piece of evidence. So Dimasa history, the past of the Dimasa got to be inscribed in book after the establishment in Dimapur. So if we count from Dimapur, then we can say Dimapur is the first capital, and second capital was Maibang. And Maibang as a second capital can also be seen through the coinage, the study of the Dimasa coinage. It is said that that sang history in the Buranji, we see that sang was killed during the battle of Dimapur and retreated. His son, who was a prince to be king, uh, left Dimapur and settled in Prasadimdik, and later on, after 22 years, settled in Maibang. And Maibang period can also be corroborative with Dimasa coins, which were circular in shape. So from there, we can say it is a second capital. To And yeah, was there any archaeological monuments like in Dimapur, Rajbari? Yeah, definitely there was a monument in Dimapur or in Maibang, because during various during art cutting or during excavation for house construction, there are instances of finding monuments just beneath the earth, so which were once part of the Dimasa kingdom, and even the very stone slab which is being protected by the Archaeological Survey of India in Maibang Rajabari area. Just on the way towards Maibang Degree College, we find a stone slab with inscription, which declares that in this very place a capital gate was erected. So from there, we can say that Maibang was a capital, and archaeological monuments are still there. And even if we explore the Maibang Degree College area just nearby, just in the vicinity of that very park, we can still find ancient bricks, and those ancient bricks were reused by the British colonial power during the construction of the railway. And as per legend, it says that during the construction of the railway of Lamding Badarpur section, most of the structures, built brick structures, were destroyed for while constructing the railway. And if we explore the area in the very plain area just nearby the Mahu River in Maibang, we can still see the fortification area where there are still brick built remains. So definitely in Maibang, if we explore, then we still see some of this ancient structure till today. So what was the expand of Dimasa kingdom in its peak? How was territory defined in Dimasa kingdom? So territory, like in general, it's definitely defined by rivers. So in ancient times during the 10th 11th century, the Dimasa kingdom had its capital at Dimapur, situated in Dimapur district of Nagaland. So this yeah, it extended from Dikhau River until Dhansiri, but later on they had shifted from Brahmaputra Valley towards Dimapur Valley. And during the Dimapur Valley, we still don't know how much it extend toward the upper reaches of Dhansiri Valley. Maybe it incorporated the whole of Dima Hasao district back then, but still more research have to be conducted in this very area to understand the expansion of the Dimasa kingdom. So as told, Dimapur was just a capital. However, the the extension of the kingdom will definitely be much more larger than just confronting in present day, just confronting Dimapur only as a city. Just confront, just means just believing that only Dimapur, the place in present day Dimapur was only the territory. It was just a capital. The extension was very much larger. It's extended maybe up to Dimahasao district. Maybe I am clear. If not, then I'm definitely going to make some clearance. And then, are there any excavation projects in Dimahasao? And are there any plans to display the artifacts in the museums? So excavation is a very very different thing in archaeology. If we say excavation does not simply means digging. In archaeology, according to UNESCO recommendation, excavation means any systematic survey of unearthing the past, be it overland or in the river or in the bed of the ocean. If we do proper survey, it's known as excavation. So in that case, if you see, then yeah, excavation is still is in continuation in the Mahasau. But if we say digging, then obviously there obviously at present time there is no such excavation to uncover the past relic of the Dimasa. But if you see as an exploration, then exploration is still going on, and during the exploration we still find lots of artifacts, lots of like ancient structures which can be related to the Dimasa. And yeah, artifacts are displayed in the district museum Haflong, and as well as the recently opened Dimasa Heritage Museum in Maibang. And there we find the dwarpal, or a warrior like structure made out of which are made out of sandstone, displayed in its gallery. And beyond that, there are pottery, then terracotta tiles. And terracotta tiles is a thing which is very much important to write the history of the particular place or a particular regime or a particular monarchy, because those terracotta tiles are depicted with certain features, which we if we observe it, if we observe it closely, then from there we can know about the cultural practices, their day-to-day life, their military activities, and as well as their socio-religious activities. And these are displayed in District Museum Haflong, and as well as Heritage Museum Mahibang. Yeah, these are the questions which I have answered. One new message.
There is
Okay.
another one. Yes.
Okay. When the Dimasa kingdom have reached Arunachal, as we can see names such like Dibang or Disang, Diung in Assam, can it be related to Dimasa words? So I'm not very much sure whether it has reached Arunachal or not. Maybe in order to answer this, like Dibang or Disang or Dikau, many there are many places in Upper Assam which is uh, which is uh, which is associated with D. Maybe that the same group of people, just like Dimasa and its allied communities, may have dominated that area prior to the coming of the Ahum, maybe. But I'm not very much. I cannot, with my present stage of language, I cannot confirm whether it extended until uh, Arunachal Pradesh or not. But yeah, having its name with D is very much interesting. These are the questions.
All right. Anybody else has any question for Shindao? Until anybody comes up, I think I'll place my questions. A few curiosity. First, Shindao, I wanted to ask a simple question. Those um, objects that you found, shaped like Lao Thai, was also there, and then the other hemispherical objects. Are these entirely stones? The raw material is stone.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It was chiseled out from sandstone. All are
Sandstone.
central. Yeah,
Okay. Another thing I wanted to know is, actually, I used to follow this YouTuber Praveen Mohan a lot.
yeah.
You must be, most of us know this archaeologist. Also, he appears in shows in BBC, and also he always mentions about the ancient technology. So, the manner, looking at the pictures that you have shared, the manner of technology, the manner of carving is so well chiseled, as you have stated yourself. So, what kind of tools do you think they must have used?
Iron, definitely iron.
Okay,
Just with iron, they have chiseled everything.
all right. And lastly, I wanted to know if it is possible, since you also said you found fossilized wood. So, uh, would it be useful? I think if you go for carbon dating to get more clues about it, is it possible, or will it be useful to further strengthen this
Narrative,
finding?
yeah, yeah, ma'am, exactly. Carbon dating will be very much helpful. So yeah, we have future planning to do. We will definitely do the soil sampling test also
Mm,
from Banji Halu, that very mound. Then it will help frame the timeline of that very area.
okay, that is great. So these are the questions I had from my side. Um, I also really appreciate the fact that besides doing this research, this really significant research, you also had gone out to suggest the people, the inhabitants around that area to take care of preservation. So that is much needed. So, of course, the authority will do, the organizations and also the researchers, they will do on their part, but it also has got to do from the side of the inhabitants in and around the area. So that is there. So really appreciating your work. Are there any questions? Is there anybody who would like to
Ma'am, here
ask?
I would like to add something that yeah, people, most of the people during our survey also we encounter it during specifically while exploring the stone jar site. People claim it as theirs. For example, if we say the Biate community, they claim it belongs to them, but stone jars were being excavated in Saipung Reserve, and the date from the charcoal sample that were being found in the very area dates back to 3rd century and as well as 13th century CE. So claiming it as their own without proper history is a very is a thing that should not be followed. Archaeology belongs to everyone. Archaeology doesn't belong to a specific group. It was the ancient relics. For example, if you see the monuments, for example, if you see the Ranachandi temple or monolithic hut of Maibang, if we only say it is a Dimasa thing, then definitely it's a wrong thing which should not be followed. It belongs to the district. It belongs to Dimahasa. So the same tendency should also be followed for the stone jars as well as every monument that lies in the district. It all belongs to everyone, just like it belongs in the Dimahasa. It is the property of Dimahasa, and it belongs to Dimahasa. This would be the tendency. And if we follow this very tendency, then yeah, there are chances that archaeological remains uh, will be protected, or else there are various cases where these remains are being vandalized because since it doesn't belong to a particular group, they simply destroyed it, which is not a good thing to be followed. So archaeology is for everyone, so everyone has a responsibility to protect it. And if we lost all those remains, we will be losing part of our history. This was part of our history, so it's our responsibility to protect it. So we have taken the first step from our own end. We had asked the villagers to clean the vegetation of Khorgai 1 so that if we do that very thing, that maybe the villagers uh, in the later phase, willingly or voluntarily, maybe they will be continuing this trend. And if they don't follow it, then obviously we'll be taking another step. So as you have said, ma'am, apart from just exploring the site, we also do community outreach. about the importance of the archaeological sites and what are the measures that can be taken to preserve it. Yeah, well,
Rightly said, rightly said. These narrative, our oral narratives are truly significant because they supplement our findings, the archaeological findings. They are scientific. They show us the truth. They give clues um, to the past, and they are specific. They are scientific, empirical. So it cannot be. There's no questions asked with all the evidences in front of our eyes. So those oral narratives alone cannot prove anything. So, as you have said, that if had these findings not been made, archaeological findings, maybe with the contrasting views of people from different backgrounds, it would have been a very chaotic situation to trace the actual story. So, so I think yes, rightly said, oral narratives have to be I mean, they are supplements, as I believe they are truly required for this particular discovery. Also, you had connected it with the various oral narratives, so they are significant. But we must be very careful regarding them. How we have to always cross check. There has to be a triangulation when we go for it. So truly said. Um, any more questions? Not necessarily questions. You can also give any comments from the participants. You're
Yeah,
most
Humi,
welcome.
I would like to
Yes.
have just a quick question. First of all, Sringtao, I wanted to congratulate you for this extensive work that you have done and the recent finding. I had a similar kind of question, which concern which Humi was raising about dating, whether the discoveries had been dated yet. But then I think you had partly answered that. Then my interest was is on the canon that you had mentioned about the military technology that you had discovered. You were connecting those findings, those what you call that shape, that stone, hemispherical shape stones that you had connected to canon thing. So I just wanted to know whether have you also discovered this? What kind of barrel that has been used for canon? If it was a canon technology, is there barrel or some sort of iron technology that you have found? Obviously they might have used some, to use this, shoot this kind of stone balls that you were talking about. And then obviously it's not possible to talk about gunpowder technology. And it would be too early, that might not, this kind of technology might not have spread. And then the other thing is that it would be very interesting, with what you are claiming, that there are more sources or discoveries being made to connect the claims that you're claiming in your presentation, that it is a canon military technology, because the Ahoms, when they had defeated the Sutia kingdom, it is said that the Ahoms borrowed many military technologies, including cannon kind of, technology, Pordop or Hiloi, that kind of technology that had been adopted by the Ahoms. So, is there any reference to this sort of thing in the Puranjis? If you have gone through to the Puranjis, and Puranjis has had, if Ahoms, after defeating the Dimasas in the medieval period, or so, that they had adopted or assimilated this kind of canon technology. If that has been established, then it would be a very important finding. I think one can go do that direction of looking at, then obviously then we can establish the fact that Dimasas are the rich military or martial traditions that we see. So it would obviously need more research to findings to do it, and then obviously locating the areas, then might be, this kind of cannons might be, technology might be placed in garrisons, important strategic location where our homes would enter into Dimahasa when to protect, obviously, the kingdom. that the Dimasa soldiers or Dimasa state might have stationed in a strategic location. So it would be a very beneficial for the entire it would be a very important finding if you can throw light on that, and then maybe you can talk about something on this, whether is there any barrel or is there any sort of what kind of technology is being used, or is it just not the canon but then the ancient I am reminded of, because I teach here medieval history. Then there is a debate on the medieval history, and then I'm reminded of Alauddin Khilji. uh, he was using this sort of a catable kind of jing dauke kaurela so to dauke wo stone ke ora fit kla hi go boni bo catable type technology he
Stick.
was using it, yeah, stick है ना. So to fit stone balls na cannon balls kind of, and then they were shooting the enemies. So it is sort of that, or it is like the advanced, more advanced, like if we have find out the barrel, then it would be very important finding, very rich for us. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for such a wonderful input. So for dating, sir, what we are facing difficulty is we are lacking out of resources in the district. There are very few people who works in the archaeology department, and for going out for exploration is also a very difficult task. See, but still we go to the site, we explore and make findings, and such if we find some prominent findings, then we give it in a publication into different journals beside newspaper. So as a comment, dating these things, we have recently collaborated with IIT Guwahati. So from now on, we will get an access to their lab for soil testing, and if we are able, and so we will be collecting soil sample from the various archaeological site. Then we will go for testing, and if testing is done, then we will be able to know about the natural setting of that very area, the climatic condition. Then we will be having a scientific reasoning for debate and all. And regarding that very carbon dating thing also is on the process. We will be doing it very soon. And regarding cannonballs and barrel thing, so just nearby the area, just adjacent to the stream bed, uh, on the cliff, if you see that very Watisa Dikong, which is a tributary of Dansiri River, in that very area is known as uh, uh, Sharki Harding. Sharki Harding, definitely from its name, we can simply say it's a place where iron were smelted. So maybe in that very place, however, it's just a hypothetical analysis. Maybe that very area might have been used for making such equipments. So until now, we haven't found any barrel or something because we haven't explored that very area until now. But our next plan is to visit that very area before this rainfall. If time permits, then we'll be going that very site. And as said by you, sir, if we are being able to locate all those findings, then it will be a groundbreaking discovery to understand the medieval history of the Dimasa Kachari kingdom. And connection, yeah, definitely we need to corroborate it. And all this remains just like Luwari Clip Dikong in Liling area. If we and that very Liling area is very much close to Maibang capital. Maybe they might have because and one more thing, the landscape of that very Luwari Klip Dikong River stream and Wadisa Dikong is very much similar and identical. Both of that very stream bed is housed with lots of sandstone. So that very area must be very much prominent as a factory site, or from there maybe stones were quarried for making different structures, maybe for even for making dwarpal that were being excavated from Maibang. Maybe those stones were being used because that very area is very much rich in sandstone deposit. Again, then yeah, in Ahum Buranji, I haven't gone in details, but only I found references of finding around 600 cannons when they visited capital Maibang. So this speaks about the volume, or this speaks how the Masas were armed with cannons. And in the Ahum Buranji, only I found references of giving as a word tribute those shang, which we see in various museum across the museum. Dimasas gave shang as tribute to the Ahom king, and those shang is mentioned, but cannons are not mentioned as a tributary. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Shindao. I do see that Ada Uttam is also here. Dr. Uttam Bathari, would you like to, um, do you have any comments?
Yeah, thank you, Umi. Actually, I joined very late. I was stuck somewhere. Even though I wanted, I could not join. So I only, got into the whole discussion while you were discussing the paper. So in any case, I would like to congratulate Dao for this very important discovery that he made. And like Humi said, I want to add to Humi what she said, that your finding kinds of corroborates the uh, folklore or the oral narratives that we have in the community. Rather, I would say that your finding is a sort of big shot in the arms for the social memory what we have, right? So everyone, those who are saying that we cannot trust the Dimasa social memory, it is a big, what to say, this discovery is a very big this thing to this whole idea that social memory can actually be trusted. Because in case of Dimasa, we already know from the Buranjis that Dimasas were defeated and that Maibang was destroyed by the Ahoms. That thing, it is written in Buranji, but in the Masa social memory, we know there is this song called Mai Bangma Haigerbani song, which is documented by this one, this his name, what, Bordloi. I'm sorry, I'm not getting the name. He documented many songs, the Masa songs, and one of the songs is Jiniba Raji, that actually talks about how that song laments the loss of Maibang, how people were, lamenting that they had to leave Maibang, a fertile valley. So, what was written in Buranji, that was sort of memorialized in our society in the form of song. So, social memory is very, very important for us to understand, uh, particularly the communities, oral communities. So your discovery, Shringa, that actually again, supports that social memory can actually be trusted, right? And when it comes to the other findings like cannonballs and other things, I do hope you take this suggestion. You take seriously the suggestion given by Dr. Santosh Hasnu. And I'm sure that some of these probably existed even before they were being used by the Ahoms and others. But there are many things that in our history we find that it is not documented, but uh, we can prove them through our social memory. For instance, not only social memory, even the archaeological ruins that we have. For example, we all know that 1537 the Ahoms destroyed Dimapur. And everybody says, all the archaeologists, historian, everybody said that the gate of Dimapur is Mughal style of architecture without thinking that Mughal actually came to the throne of Delhi in 1526. So how can Mughal style of architecture travel to this part of the country within such a short time? So if you look at the earliest such Mughal type of structure in India, you find in Western India, that is in Gujarat. I think that belongs to 11th, 12th century, 12th century. So, you know, and if we look at the Dimasa social memory, where it says that the rule from Dimapur is equivalent to 9 times of flowering of Muli bamboo, which is, if we multiply something about 50 to 9 is 450 years. So that brings us back to something like 11th, 12th century,
Century.
rather 11th century. So we if we bring in this Dimasa social memory, and if we rally all the archaeological evidence we have and other things, I think we can clearly, you know, write our history pre-Dimapur phase history, and particularly after this Dr. Nino's this thing excavation of Dimapur. Now we know that there has been continuous habitation in Dimapur right from 3rd century AD onwards. So this brings a lot of other things into question. The whole process of state formation in Brahmaputra Valley, we can rethink. We can ask new questions based on the basis of all that. In the meantime, like we have to use everything that we have in our, I should say, arsenal. For example, you're talking about Sherki Hading. That is very important evidence for us because uh, place names, toponymy is very important source for history, because a place, people do not name a place just like that. There is certain material basis, or certain cultural basis on which place names are given. So I think the Serki Harding name itself says that Dimasa said independent iron technology, because we also know that there used to be a khel called uh,
Shenyum.
haha.
Shenyum.
No, not only Sangyung, share. Mm, I'm getting old. Uh, there is a particular khel that starts with share, but that clan is not to be found now. That is mentioned in the article by Sofia Maretina, which was published in 1975 in the early stage. I can share the article with you. I have the article. So there she first comes up with this Khel name, which clearly talks about share. Okay. So I think we have to use all these evidences that we have in our social memory, in our folklore, in our oral narrative, and then we can have some sort of uh, concrete history of particularly pre-Dimapur phase. So that is what I want to comment right now. I'm sorry that I missed your talk, but I am looking forward to your publication so that we can use it uh, elsewhere. So congratulations once again,
Thank you, sir.
and congratulations also to the Masa Scholars League for reactivating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ada Uttam, for your comments. Um, do we have any more comments from the participants? If not, then I think we can wind up today's program. And I would like to um, give my gratitude, heartfelt gratitude to the speaker, Dr. Shringdao Lankasa, for his truly remarkable presentation. Was excellent, of course, and your findings was has been groundbreaking and remarkable, and that has enabled us to draw connection with the Masa history. So I congratulate you again, and also thank you from the bottom of my heart, as well as on behalf of the Masa Scholars League.
I,
I
I,
thank.
I I remember the word now. Share, again, it went back. Share.
Happens with me all the time, Ada. In the classroom as well, it happens with me.
Once you get older, it happens always.
I know. You can always get back, Ada. If you remember, you can get
Yeah,
back to
yeah, I
Shringa.
will. I will write in
Yes.
your.
Or you
I'll
can put
just
it in the chat
remember.
box if you suddenly remember
Yeah,
again.
yes, I'm keeping the chat box ready now.
Okay, okay, Ada. Thank you so much to Ada Uttam, to Santosh Hasnu, for your valuable inputs, comments, and suggestions for the speaker as well. I also thank all of the participants who have joined us today in this online discussion. Your participation has made this particular program successful. I'm sure all of us have been benefited with this talk. We have also been able to take away some of the uh, uh, keys for our own research, and also, needless to say, we all admire the work done, the significant work done. I thank all of the members of the Dimasa Scholars League for cooperating for this entire program, the organization of this entire program. And may I also inform everyone that the recordings will be shared. They will be uploaded in our YouTube channel, the Masa Scholars League YouTube channel. So you can always go back and watch it. And we will, of course, put it out in social media. Um, and as we come to the end, I would like to end on a note that research is not just about going out there in the field and then putting out our findings, publishing them. It is beyond that. We also have to give back to the community that we have worked on. So this is a perfect example, this particular study by Dr. Shringdao and his team. So I believe we can always strive on this as researchers in our future researches and ongoing researches. So on this note, thank you all once again. Thank you, Shringdao. Thank you all of the participants, and a very good night. Juthai.
Thank you. And yeah, I think my objective is met because I was so confused what those artifacts mean. So I was just eager to discuss. It was not my intention to just simply share my knowledge. I was intrigued to get information about all those what those replicas or what those structures may indicate. So thank you everyone. Thank you Dimasa Scholars League for hosting me. Juthai.
Juthai, thank you. We will meet again in our upcoming events.
Sure,
Thank you,
sure,
everyone.
sure.
Good night, Juthai.
Good night.